where my family is from. And we transitioned to the States. I was about 6, 7 years old, somewhere around there. I say that because I think I remember my sixth birthday. So I was like 7, 8. I don't know. I was somewhere around there. I was no more than 8 years old for sure.
And that was when you first came here?
That was when I first went to the States.
Oh, to the States.
In fact, I personally remember, I mean, at 6 years of age, you develop a very good memory.
Yeah.
I actually remember crossing the border illegally.
So after that, did you come back and then go back, or were you back?
No, I went to the States. Of course, it was illegally, and I stayed in the States until I was what I thought 27 years old. I was 27 years old. Well, turns out I was 28 when I got deported. So roughly about 20 years I was in the States. I also finished my elementary there. Of course, my junior high. I didn't graduate high school. Didn't get a GED, none of that. So I got deported through Acuña, Coahuila, and this was in 2010. I got released from the feds. The real time that I got deported, though, was in 2008, 2009. Like the first time. But at that time, I was trying to cross back. And the reason that I got back was because I was one of the suckers that fell for what ICE sold to them. Okay, man, just don't fight. Just sign this shit. We're gonna take you back today, and tomorrow you can cross over. Well, you know English. Well, like, you'll be able to cross over, no problem. So I believed it.
Sucker.
I was one of the suckers that believed it, and I signed. I remember out of everybody, we got picked up. So at that time in California, even though Obama was like pro the Dream Act and helping immigrants.
Yeah, he's the president that has most people deported.
Yeah.
Yes.
He did more damage to us than fucking Trump, bro.
Yes. And that's strictly true. But I mean, at that time, I mean, nobody saw it that way. He spoke differently. Whatever was actually happening, it wasn't happening. Nobody. So I was one of the guys that got deported under his administration. So I went to county jail to do a small bid, and I remember when I got locked up. I remember the bailiff at the sheriff's was telling me to get bailed out. He didn't tell me why, but I mean at that time I was like, bro, this is penny. I'm gonna do 3 days max, bro. I'm gonna be out in 3 days. Why am I gonna pay $3,000 to get bailed out? I'm gonna do 3 days. I'm out. Because at that time in California's always had heavily populated prisons. So there was a time
was there 3 for what?
they were doing a 10% reduction, bro. 10%.
And this is when LA County was still cooperating with ICE, right, and providing ICE holds and shit.
Yes, but I did not know that. I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
So I did my small 3 days bid just like I expected, but I never left.
Because they were waiting for you.
Yeah, I never went back home. None of that. So then they were like, "You're getting deported." I don't know, but it was like kind of like it was a joke because they kind of took it like a joke. Like, "Oh, you know English, bro. You're gonna be able to come back, no problem." So I believed it, bro. I believed it. I signed. I came back. So for a month I was trying to cross different ways, and then on the last attempt, I attempted to cross with a passport, which to me was nothing. But it turned out that passport was actually good. It actually belonged to somebody, and they take that very bad. So anyhow, I got a deal, and I was able to actually get out 2010.
So you went to jail. You went to the feds for a fake passport or for a fake identity.
Yes. it's an aggravated felony still. They wanted to get me, of course, for identity theft. I was able to get them down, and to this day, man, I thank that lawyer. I haven't been able to pay that restitution. It was only $100, but I never got around to it. I never got that chance. But I thank him a lot. He was new. He was very brand new. I was his first case.
Damn.
And
Also, so the thing is that he still had that fire in him, where he was trying to do good.
he had fire. I was his first case, bro. He wanted to do good. Last I heard, he's got his own law firm now. So he's
So he's not a public defender no more?
No, he's not a public defender
He's
anymore.
an actual lawyer?
He's
See, that's the thing, a lot of public defenders that I've met along my, what used to be my long criminal career,
Yeah.
a lot of them, they lose their fire. So basically, they're just working with the district attorney, or, the prosecutor.
Yeah.
They're just trying to get you along the way, just, hey man, you sign this will help you.
They do. And actually, he admitted that to me. He admitted that to me.
Yeah, it's just a business.
And he did admit that to me. He's like, look, man, my original job, to be honest with you, is to get you guys to take the deal. I mean, just, but I mean, you
Yeah,
do
just
have
straight up though, like that.
Yeah, straight up. I made a big deal with my son, because I was like, how are you gonna leave my son a bastard, You're making my son a bastard, and I'm not even dead. So he felt for me, well, he had genuine sympathy, and the guy fought for me. He fought for me, and he got me a really good deal, and, since I got caught, that was time served already, so I ended up doing about 18 months or more. Because after that, I went to immigration, in which I was about 6 to 8 months there. I did try to fight. I did not stay as long as you did. I got transferred from California all the way to Texas.
Damn, and that's a long road trip.
It was a long road trip. So, in immigration,
I take it wasn't just a straight shoot, right?
we went on a bus.
No, but I mean,
No,
like directly from Cali to Texas, or you had to sleep along the way in the different fucking.
from California, I got moved along the south all the way to Florence, Arizona. And from Florence, Arizona,
Then
I got
moved to Texas.
picked up to Post, Texas.
Yeah, because that's a straight shot just for them fuckers to take you straight on like that.
That was a long trip,
And
especially handcuffed, and you're like this, and you're it was a trip. I couldn't believe it, but I ended up in Texas, and after I did my time from my crime, I went to, of course, immigration, and my whole plan was to fight. Just like I was sticking to the plan that I had spoken to my lawyer about. Like, look, man, let me get this bit out of the way. Give me a good deal. Give me a good deal. Get this bit out of the way. I'm gonna fight immigration. I'll stay there and fight. I'll stay 5, 10, 15 years. It's my son. I didn't realize didn't really realize it. But when I got during the time that I was in prison, of course, people talk.
yeah.
And you hear stories, you get ideas, you picture yourself, you kind of start picturing yourself. I know I'm getting deported,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to mentally prepare myself for this. And I kind of take it lightly because it's kind of like surreal to me. Like I'm thinking I'm gonna wake up.
No, but you still
I'm
have it.
thinking I'm gonna wake up. It's been a year since I've been home, and I'm still thinking that I'm gonna somehow end up home. So I get to the immigration in Texas, and nobody goes to court. It's a video court.
On the
So
TV
the
screen.
judges, so the judge is on the screen, and then of course you need people from all over the world, So there was this guy from China. He was there fighting his case for 6 years already.
Damn, that was a good time.
Nowhere near it. Nowhere near getting any decision or anything.
Just resets, postpones, resets.
I would meet people from met people from Cuba, I met people, and I've met other Mexicans that had fought their cases, and they were already fighting their cases 8, 9 years. Um, I saw the way that the system or the immigration court system was going. There was this lady in there that she's like, my kid, he's an American citizen, and I don't have family in this place, who's gonna take care of him. And the judge literally told her, like, there's 2 options. You stay in a foster home here, he's an American, or you can take him. You're going. You're gone. She was from Honduras.
Damn. Just like that. Yeah, it's good.
Honduras. There was no sympathy, no heart, no anything. And I remember when I talked to the judge, he was cold-hearted about my case. And I remember that I told him, you know what, I knew that I didn't have a chance talking to you because I saw the way that you talk to everybody else. Like, one, you're going to sit here and you're going to judge my life based on something. You're going to say that I didn't do a fair term because I was supposed to do, a big term, and I got away with a small term that my lawyer got me. You're gonna judge me based on something like that. Like, for one, I don't need you. I don't need to take you to talk to me. You're nothing. That you're okay. You're a judge, but at the end of the day, you're a human being, and I'm a human being. You don't. I don't need you to talk to me like that. I don't need to go kill shit. I didn't even beg you. And I remember the bailiff her eyes were all wide open. Like, nobody ever talked to a judge like that. I didn't disrespect him.
Because you ain't never met a top black motherfuckers.
I never disrespected him, I curse now, but I didn't curse when I was telling him that, not to judge me, not to, consider me as a human being, not to consider me as, as some fucking piece of paper or another document, like that, and that wasn't gonna happen. I realized that wasn't gonna happen, and I had to come with a choice. I had to realize, like, okay, so let's say I fight this thing, and I stay here 8, 9, 10 years, just like I told my lawyer I would. When I come out of here, what do I have? My son's gonna be 10 years old. For one, I already had like a custody case that I was fighting. So I would have to pick that up all over again. I was gonna have to explain to court where I was at for the past 10 years.
And that's gonna look bad on you.
So there was a lot of things that I had to take into consideration. And to be honest with you, during the whole process that I was getting deported, it really, I didn't consider the time that I was gonna spend or the time that I was gonna waste. And at the end of the day, wait, do you really want to sit here in jail for 10 years? No guarantee that you're going to leave. After 10 years, at the end of the day, you're going to go, they can take you to fucking Mexico and say, you're fucked. So it was a very, very tough choice, but I decided, you know what, I'm going to go to Mexico. I'm going to go to Mexico.
I seen somebody talk to the judge worse though.
Yeah, there's people that get extra time.
The first time I was at the jail facility right there in Aurora, Aurora, Colorado, there was a dude there. He had his papers, bro, but he was coming back from the joint. I don't know from where. But they were taking the shit from him,
Yeah.
And the translator was telling him. And then, señor, ¿le quiere decir algo después? Because he was telling him, dígale que se lo meta al culo. ¿Cómo, señor? No le puedo decir, no, dígale que se lo meta por el culo.
Translate, bro. They have to translate.
No le puedo. Usted dígale que se lo meta por el culo. And when she told him, the judge, I was just like, oh shit.
They actually keep you back. I got held back 2 months. That's why I ended up staying 8 months.
It's like a little contempt of court that they do, right?
Yeah, like they don't tell you. It's not an extra charge, but they make you wait.
Oh yeah, she kicked him out of the court. We scheduled him for like 3 months.
And then you get out.
He had set his fee, so hey.
He got his out of, And it is, because it's very unfair, they just take you as that. They just take this number, and at that time it was just like, they weren't even reviewing cases. I can honestly say that the judge didn't review my case. He just literally look at the first page, all right, you're guilty, you're out.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, like that. So I got deported.
And then there are fucking judges like that, man.
This is a point, like, we're nothing but a number, bro.
Yeah.
It's a
understood that and knew that, and that was, of course, that also played a consideration to my decision, you know.
Because even now, I mean, you really think about it when they say like, oh, you can appeal your case, you can send a pardon, ask to be forgiven, but what you gotta do in order to send that in? Gotta pay.
Yeah.
How much you gotta pay? A substantial amount.
Yeah.
For them to actually be like, oh, because you paid this much.
I don't know, what you think?
Let me go ahead and look. No, I'm sorry. You know, like, we don't forgive you. So then they're like, you got.
Not yet, you gotta pay another $3,000.
You gotta wait a little bit, you're a little bit short.
Yeah.
Pay me again, and we'll talk about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like, you get these people that submit like up to like 3 pardons. Damn, like 3,000 each time?
It
4,000
is.
each time?
It is mainly a business thing. And it's always been like that. I mean, even when you were in the States, you were better off buying a lawyer than going to a public defender. And that's kind of everywhere, you know.
But unfortunately, like a lot of people don't know, a lot of people don't know because they think like, oh, this is the free lawyer. But nah, that motherfucker will fuck you over.
Because for one, he don't give a damn, he's still getting paid at the
He's
end
trying
of
to
the
get
day.
his quota. He's just trying to get you to sign.
Yeah, because that's at the end of the day, that's all they have to do.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I mean, I've gotten some good deals with public defenders, but at the same time, I know that, like, if he got me that, had I been wise enough to get a lawyer, I would've gotten out.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
of course, definitely.
Well, sorry, man, go ahead.
No, that's cool. So I got deported in Acuña, Coahuila, and that's because at that time there was if you were gang affiliated and you got deported to Juarez, I couldn't get deported to Juarez basically because the cartels were killing gang members, and there was supposedly that was one of the reasons why I had to wait, because the buses were heading to Juarez, and I was one of the ones that couldn't go to Juarez. So to save my life, they dropped me off in Acuña, Coahuila, which was also, you know, pretty hectic. I didn't see the guys on the bus, but I did see the militaries. You know, there's military everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I stayed in the Casa de Inmigrante. I remember I had a sign, and they gave me like a little ticket. They gave me 25% for a boleto. They weren't giving you that boleto if you were going to a city by the border. So originally, like my family from my mom's side, my tia, they live in TJ. So I was not getting a ticket to TJ, or at least not even a discount.
Yeah, yeah.
So from Acuña, Coahuila to TJ, that's a long fucking trip. That's money that I didn't have. I was broke. I had, I think, 300 pesos.
Damn.
300 pesos. So they gave me this boleto, and they gave me a 25% discount if I go like towards the central of the country.
It's just away from the border.
Yeah. If I go anywhere else, they give me a 25% discount con ese boletito. And of course I didn't have anybody there, so I went into the Casa de Inmigrante, and yeah, you're right, you know, it's cold. They don't have heaters. The rooms are like a dorm, and some of them don't have bunks. They got a bunk, and then you mainly sleep on the floor. They got like mats. So those mats, since they're on the floor, bro, and people just walk
Come
in
and go,
there,
and
and the floor is dirty. It's really.
It's uncomfortable, bro.
I remember sitting there and I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, bro. I'm not from here. My family is in TJ. How the fuck am I gonna get to TJ? I don't have money to get to TJ. I talked to Mom. Mom was having a hard time. She wasn't gonna be able to send me any money, you know. So I was I'm fucked. So I actually met my dad for the first time in my life when I got here to Mexico, and it was out of like really necessity. You know, because I didn't have nothing else going. I don't know what the fuck I don't know what the fuck I was gonna do. I just knew that I couldn't stay at that Casa de Inmigrante.
Well, how'd you reach that, your dad?
So I called my mom. I had prepared it. I think it was like the last week before I got deported. I called my mom Yeah,
Okay.
not because I wasn't gonna be able to go to TJ, but it had crossed my mind already, and I had already, because that was an option. The only option that I had so far was to go to TJ. That was the only option that I had, and at that time, TJ was hot, bro. TJ was hot. Gangbanging, there's gangbanging in TJ. It exists, and they really don't like gang members from the States.
Oh shit.
So I was actually when that month that I was in TJ, I got lucky, bro. I got my life saved by some lady that was about to throw out the trash. Cause there was a car that was already.
You spend a month at TJ?
Yeah, I spent a month in TJ.
So like, how was that like? Cause you were in Coahuila, and then you met your dad, or
so when I was in TJ was like 2008, 2009. The first time when I got suckered into taking that deal.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So it was that time that
Before you went in for that identity theft.
So that was my only option. I really had no other options. I know that I had family in Irapuato, but I was like, well, that's where like my biological dad is at, which I never met him and I never really talked to him,
And yet so far from where you were at, right?
Yeah. So far from where we're at, and I'm like, so I get to the Casa de Migrante and I call my tia in TJ, and of course they're not gonna deny me a house, but they don't have money to send me to get the ticket, so I was like, well, let me call my dad. I need to get out of here, I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen here. I need to get away from where I'm at. So I called up my dad, and it was the first time that I had spoken to him. I had spoken to him like 2 occasions, but they were like really quick. I wasn't like really interested, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I talked to him, and he gathered the money, and he got me a ticket. But I actually spent 3 days in Coahuila, in Acuña, Coahuila.
Oh, waiting for him to get the money?
Yeah, I stood in that house for three nights.
En la casa de
Inmigrante. And
Bro,
bro,
how much was the ticket?
it was like 2,800, I think.
Yeah, damn.
I was going from
You get a
Acuña,
rental?
Coahuila to Irapuato.
How much did you pay when you go over there?
That was a 16-hour drive.
And how much were you paying when you went over there to the river? Like 1,000? Something?
Probably two. But then again, he's talking about years before.
Yeah, that was in 2000 and that was with a discount.
Expensive, bro, to go out there.
That was with a discount. That was with a 25% discount.
Ah, damn.
Cause well, shit. From here to Laredo, you're talking about a 14, 15-hour drive. Man.
This motherfucker wanted to take me.
It's nice, bro.
It is a nice.
There's a big sleeping giant fool. Tell me one day that nigga's gonna fucking stand the fuck up.
It is a nice.
for me.
It is a nice scenery.
He's just on top of the mountain like that, and you can see his arms perfectly. His fucking head, his nose, his eyes, hasta su pinche pito, and you see his feet coming
Why
up.
are you looking at his feet though?
Hey dog, it's big. Hey man, but I'm saying,
It's a
bro.
mountain.
Guys, that's gonna be the clip. I'll share that.
I wanna see that.
Clip it.
I wanna see that.
So anyhow, I get to Irapuato, bro, and I'm still like in shock, bro. I still can't believe what's happening, bro. Like,
Yeah.
my main thought, like my whole main thing to me, to be honest with you guys, I've been deported. It's been 12 years. It's been 12 years. 12 years deported. So this whole time, like the only thing that's been on my mind was I need to find a way to get my son. And that's really like been a lot of like motivations and I mean I'm not to blame him, but I made a lot of mistakes, so when I get to Irapuato, I don't know what the fuck. All I'm thinking is, how am I gonna make it out of here to get to my kid, to get to my boy? I need to get there. So I remember that my attorney got me a deal where after 10 years, I can apply again. guarantee.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't even
And-
have to give you that.
On top of that, you know, there's certain, I have to own land, I have to be self-dependent, which means I gotta own my own business. I have to show them why, I gotta prove to them that I don't plan on staying there.
Also, basically, this is just to apply for a visa then.
Yeah. And this is if I was gonna get lucky and get a visitor's visa, because I can apply for that. But this still doesn't guarantee me anything. They're still gonna be able to look at everything,
Yes.
because they run your fingerprints.
Israel got one of those.
Like little homie, Gerardo fool from Sierra England, the youngster that I used to kick it with during the day, that fool, when we all left Sierra England and that, cause he was doing his estancia
Yeah.
at Sierra England. When he graduated, well, since he had all that experience, in logistics,
Yeah.
he got hired at well, he got hired at a different trucking company in, I don't know, he told me to. But he got hired there, bro, they got him and shit, they shipped him out. He's out in, Milwaukee.
Yeah, if there's a
Shit.
if there's a company that asks for you, so if I get a company that'll ask for me, they'll also consider me, but they're also going to consider everything because they run your
Right.
fingerprints. They run background checks.
But like, it's not gonna be that, well, I mean, you know, like, it's not gonna be that hard because if you're eligible to go back,
Yeah.
or, you know, you have that possibility of
There's
eligibility.
there's a bigger possibility than if the worst would have happened.
Like,
That is true.
ain't no way I'm going through.
To be frank with you, I've
Yeah, but then
never.
again, you never know.
To be
man.
frank with
I'm
you,
not
it
paying,
is
so I'm not going.
Oh, well, yeah.
it is a long shot, and to be honest with you, like me personally, I've never really met somebody that's made it back successfully that way. That got deported, got like a certain amount of time and applied and actually went back.
Israel.
Israel.
Israel went back.
Our fucking, what is he, the boss from our job? One of the bosses? That fool, the fool that supposedly is from my hood.
Oh yeah.
That fool supposedly, when I was talking to him, he was telling us that, hey, I don't know how, man. He was like, but I applied for my shit, and they gave me my, look, I'm in Vegas right now. He was telling me, I'm in Vegas.
Yeah,
I was
you
like,
can.
lucky motherfucker. And then he was like, and I still gotta go to Cali in 2 days. So I was like, well, for one, that's business. And like you're saying,
Visitor.
maybe he probably does have property here. I mean, he's making.
Well, he has a he.
You know what I mean? He has
Well,
to have some kind of.
well,
He has a business.
But he's
Assets,
he's
something.
the head of the company.
Yeah.
So so they look at all that.
Yeah, if you have a company that would take you in and they petition for you, that's actually the best opportunity that you have.
Go to India, fool, with your Punjabi niggas.
No,
No.
I'll put one man. No. So anyhow, I landed in Irapuato, bro. My whole mindset is that I need to try to get to my kid. I don't have legal documents. I don't even have my birth certificate. So I remember I have my dad's wife's sister. I call her my tia. She's working in the Holiday Inn down in Irapuato. So my first job was alright. I mean, I was making 1,400 a quincena. I was a bellboy.
They're at the
1,400
hotel.
quinzena?
Yeah. For 1,400 a
Oh,
quincena.
you were getting tips, right?
I was making tips because so there's a lot of companies in Irapuato, the American companies, and the airport. There's an airport in Silao, and the company, they say, I think at that time it was Procter and Gamble. They had built a factory in Irapuato, pero es de pasada. So they stayed at the Holiday Inn. So I would chop it up with a lot of them, and they were construction foremen. Because I came out of the construction trade myself. I did construction for 8 years. I worked in the oil refinery. So my initial thought was like, all right, I got to try to get into the oil refinery here in Pemex. That's gonna be my best bet. I take advantage of everything that I know. I was a safety director, so I was like, man, with everything that I know, I gotta be able to get it. And well, You know, here in Mexico, if you don't have family that's in those good paying jobs, you're not getting shit. And I didn't have anybody that worked at FedEx. I wasn't gonna get shit, no matter how qualified I was. It's funny because when I got to Irapuato, one of my first jobs in the States was Pizza Hut, and I've never been legal in the States. I never had legal status, ever. So I worked at Pizza Hut, and I was trying to, of course, be better and better myself and get better wage, get better paid. So I went for the management position, and well, when you apply for management position, they do a better background check. They found out I was illegal, so I got fired. So I had experience from Pizza Hut because I was actually working there for about a year and a half. So I go down to the Pizza Hut in Irapuato, and they tell me that I'm overqualified.
Oh shit. They're at the Pizza Hut.
I don't get a job because I'm overqualified.
Well, why? How are you overqualified?
I don't know. I asked that question. They said that it's because I know English and well, this one doesn't pay you that good, and I really couldn't believe what the guy was telling me. But I took it for what it was, bro. Fuck it. So I got the Holiday Inn job, and I was working tips with those guys, but working construction, and those guys that were construction foreman, I was like, hey man, but I wasn't really getting any luck until there was one of them that was going to work in the fabrica, and he was like, hey man, I'll get you an interview. And he did. He got me an interview. I went to the interview, bro. The test was in Spanish. At that time,
how was your Spanish?
It
Between me and him?
Yeah. It was between both of you guys in Spanish.
Together? Or in between?
I'm like right in between.
Damn.
I was like right there. So I wasn't bad. I was able to communicate, pero se notaba luego que soy pocho. You can hear it right off the fucking bat.
Yeah.
So the Spanish here, like you guys were saying, the Spanish in Mexico es muy diferente a Spanish back in the States. Way fucking different.
And I think it's like another thing that's wrong is that like the Spanish that you like if you practice it over there is different, but like sometimes you don't even feel the need because it's not enforced at home.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Like me, like it had gotten to the point where I couldn't speak Spanish. Like I would tell my mom everything in English, and my
She
mom
would
it
respond.
was cool. Like like,
Yeah.
it wasn't
Yeah.
Like I remember like when my grandma had gone, she had moved to the States, and like I couldn't me trababa mucho hablando con mi abuela, you know? So I had to like I don't know, I got in my mind like, oh, I gotta watch novelas or some shit. So I started listening to like Spanish music. I started watching novelas more. Yeah, motherfuckers, I watch novelas. But like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just to pick it up again. You know what I mean? So like, I think it's relatable to like a lot of people because you hear it all the time. Like you're able to tell another portrait, even if he's not all tatted up like us or this and that, or might not rock the stilo or whatever. But as soon as he talks, he's like, oh, Yule.
Yeah.
My brother. No?
So the test was in Spanish, bro. I didn't understand it, bro. I think I answered maybe 1 out of 68 questions. Because I couldn't understand the rest. And of course, from school you learn like, hey, when you're in a test, it's time sensitive, so if you don't understand one question, fucking skip it.
Because I skipped them
bro,
all.
How many pages did you skip?
There was 3 pages, bro. I skipped 2. And I went back to the first answer, and then I doubted my answer. And I was like, fuck, you know what, I can't. And I remember I literally got the pencil and I helped her put it down, and the lady, she was like, you're done so quick, and I told her, I'm sorry, I can't. I just.
You know that English one? Did you even ask? What if she would have been like, oh yeah,
no, everything was gonna be in Spanish. I kind of knew that, but at that time I felt confident, bro.
Well, you know what?
That's because you were waiting for that damn interview.
Yeah.
Not knowing
not knowing that it was gonna be a test. It
And
was,
then
it
in
wasn't gonna be a
Spanish.
face-to-face interview.
And then in Spanish at that.
And then in Spanish at that, so I just left, bro. I answered one question and I was done.
Well, when I had that job at the store, and they showed me how to use the copier, bro, like a lot of shit, the copier fucking gave, like the words that I didn't understand, and they had a little touch screen, so it was a fancy one.
Yeah.
Bro, I had to switch the language on that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. I put it in English, so they didn't even know how to use it because it was in English.
Well, till this day, everything that I have is the settings are in English. My phone, my tablet, my laptop, my TV, everything is in English. Matter of fact, some people sometimes I'll tell them like, let's look at my phone, and it says it right here. Oh, it's because your phone is in English.
¿Eh? ¿Ahora quién dice que pendejo, eh?
Now what?
Now what? I can read
So-
that fine. Can you? Can you?
Well, anyhow, I started off making, that much money, and I'm converting into dollars. And I'm like, fuck, man, well, if I could, I don't know, at least make fucking $200 a week. How much is $200 a week? And I start doing the math, and I'm like, I gotta be able to get this much fucking a week. So at the Holiday Inn, I was being discriminated, bro, because of my appearance, because I'm a pocho. So Human Resources started since I was a bellboy, and the Holiday Inn offered, tourist service. So like if a guest wanted to go down to the centro, well,
They didn't want you to be seen right there at the bottom, no?
no, it wasn't
No?
that. So I had to get a driver's license. So all right, another document. Here I go. I gotta go get this driver's license, and my first time ever getting a driver's license. And remind you guys, I never had a legal status. I never had an ID. I never had a driver's license. So I was actually excited, bro. I was like, all right, I'm actually fucking doing something legal. I'm actually getting my legal license, and I'm gonna take a test and everything. I felt like a fucking citizen, bro. Like oh shit. So I take the test. I go get my driver's license, and I'm like, oh, it's not this one, 'cause this is a normal one. You need one for passengers.
Okay.
Fuck, alright. So here I go back. And they're telling me at the thing that in order for me to apply for that license, I have to have at least 3 years with my license. I had no more than a week with my A license. It's obviously.
Yeah, so you still had to wait 2 years.
I
or
had to
51
wait 2
weeks.
years. So I go back to the Holiday Inn, and I tell them like, hey man, well, I mean, there's nothing I can do, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll still do the bellboy shit. I mean, there's 2 of us. No one will go back, and you guys don't need this in the tent, But they weren't having it, bro. They were like, no, we gotta let you go. So there was no more connections, bro. Like my dad makes tostadas, artesanales. That's what he dedicated his whole life to.
What is that?
Tostadas. Tostadas are. So in other words, no son de fábrica, güey. Like they're not like the tostadas that you see in the grocery store. They don't even have a label. Tostadas caseras, güey.
Oh, okay.
It's type.
Yeah.
But he does them at a big volume.
So he does them fancy?
It's like what your mom does. How she makes the food at the casa, no? And then she sells it, boom.
Yeah.
So that's
Buys
his
his
own hecho en casa, like
But
his dish.
that's actually a family business because my grandfather had started that business, and then my other uncles,
Kush tostadas.
they
Just think about it.
What
What?
about it, Flair?
man, I'm not gonna say I haven't.
But
I worked on the graphic design. What?
So
Those
he
brands.
worked doing tostadas, and he has 6 kids. And here I come along now, so I'm the 7th.
But you're the first.
Here I come along, and I'm the first. So it's weird because my family, at least my dad, my sisters, my brothers, they did accept me because my dad all their life told them about me.
About you.
So they knew about me. I did not know about them. I had nobody to talk to me about them. So they actually made things easier for me. I wasn't accepted by certain family members, but at least them, they always show me, you know, their love and you know, like, we don't know how, but we're here for you, you know, like,
Yeah.
we don't know how we can help you, but tell us, you know, we'll help you.
Whatever we can.
Yeah. And the truth is that they did, and like I said, I don't know what to do. My dad was like, take advantage of your English, and I'm like, how? He didn't know how either. So my sister, I mean, I have a sister that lives in DF. That she's been here for a while. My sister goes visits me, and you know, she wants
She's
to
your
take
dad's
me.
kid too?
No,
Oh,
from
she's
my mom's
your
side.
Oh.
Yeah, and her, I grew up with her. You know, I grew up with my brothers.
But she's already been here enough, so she knows like what to
Yeah.
do and shit. Alright.
She had already been here, so, but I mean, she's a at the time she was a housewife. So she didn't like know about jobs or anything like that. I think my biggest denial has always been the money thing. Has always been that. So, and I think that is because, you know, my main goal is like, I gotta make enough money to get to my son, you know, somehow. With my dad, when I stopped working at the Holiday Inn, I worked with my dad, and he was giving me 350 pesos
A week.
a week. 350 pesos, and his idea is that, well, I mean, food, like, you don't pay rent, you don't buy food, you don't have to, I mean, you eat here, I give you the food. So literally, like, all you really need money for is to go out and have fun.
Don't spend it in one day.
You should
Don't
look
spend
at-
it all in
Here
one
you
day.
go, it's the weekend, you know, like,
But like,
I guess he was expecting for me to spend it all and to spend my whole weekend drunk. But that wasn't my goal. And, I mean, I say that is because, well, my brothers, they would go out and they would drink. You know, they would literally, you know, fuck off their...
Yeah,
Go and tag along, right?
Well, I mean, look,
50 wasn't enough for a bed out, bro. Like,
bro, look, between my brother and I, you know, like you said, in the rancho, you get a carton de caguamas.
but even
It's 240 pesos.
Nah, oh yeah, well
Bro.
back then, you've been here a while.
Nah, even
I-
though you
yeah.
still buy the carton 240.
Yeah,
You
bro.
still get the carton 240.
Nah, it's up now.
I don't know, I haven't checked. But
It's
anyhow,
up now.
Are they?
I was
Anyhow.
right there in Toluca, December.
Oh, I don't know. Here, they're right there.
No, they 350 now in Toluca, bro. That was 350.
Yeah, they went up.
yeah, they did. Well, my time, they were 240. And you would get, it was, I think, 8 caguamas, the big ones, in the carton. So, bro, I mean, we were, you know, we would.
Ocho? I thought it's 12. It's 12.
Somewhere around there. I really don't remember. It's been. So anyhow, around this time that I got deported, I actually got a hold of my baby mama, and you know, we started talking. So she tells me, bro, that she was willing to come to Mexico, you know, and stay with me. I lived with my dad, bro. I lived in a couch. I stayed in a fucking couch, bro. Where was I gonna have my kid and her stay? I was making 350 pesos a fucking week. So I tell my dad, I'm like, you know what, I gotta move. I need to get my own place. Cause I have a family, bro. I have a family. I can't just
I gotta
I have a family. I can't just be here.
start doing something.
So one of my deals, he offers me a job, and he was offering to pay me, you know, more than double. So I was like, man, you know, for right now, I'll jump on it, and I can at least save some money. So I was working with him for a while. You know, things went kind of south. I actually got a loan at Electra for 1,000 pesos. I got the 1,000 pesos. I bought a ticket to DF.
Did you pay it back?
Yeah, I did.
Because I know nobody pays back. Right?
I paid it back. I paid
Well,
it back.
Johnny twofold.
They still stop.
Nah, that nigga on time with his payments.
I paid back Electra. I wasn't able to establish credit in the States because I was illegal. So as I
I'ma
got
do it
to
here.
establish the state, and it's funny because
yeah.
you know, in ranchos that shit doesn't matter, bro. In the pueblitos, nobody gives a fuck about credits, but when you enter a city, it does matter. Like it does really matter. So I mean, shit, I was gonna take care of my credit, bro. So I paid. So anyhow, I got a 1,000 peso loan from because I wasn't even making that much, bro. I got a 1,000 peso loan from Electra, and I bought my ticket to DF, bro. So I get to my sister's house, and it's kind of like by surprise, because I didn't even tell her, bro. You know,
Showed up.
I just called her, and I'm on my way.
Damn.
You know, so I show up, and she, you know, she's trying to help me out. So they gave me this job at a restaurant, bro. And they're paying me there 450 pesos a week. I was like valet parker. I was a valet parker. Yeah, supposedly I was gonna get tips and all kinds of stuff. So I was like, all right, cool.
Did you
So
get tips?
no, I didn't get
Puro
tips.
chorizo.
The restaurant was barely starting, and I think that they didn't have a correct marketing strategy because we weren't getting any clients. I wasn't getting any clients, bro. I was literally out in the fuck. So my job was supposed to be from 7 to 4, and it got extended from 7 to 8.
Why? Because of the fact no clients, they were trying to bring in?
Yeah, they were trying to bring in clients, so they said, let's open later, and let's stay open later, y todo eso, todo eso.
So you were there from
7, 8,
6:30.
6:30.
Because I had a different work ethic.
You were there 14 hours.
I was there, yeah. So I remember the first week came and we got our paycheck. I got paid 450 pesos, you know. So I was like, man, I'm tired. Now I'm gonna go get a beer. And I walked into this bar that's going towards my sister's house because the place it's walking distance. So I go into this bar and I buy a drink, bro, and I end up. I remember the bill was 240 pesos.
I said, damn, that's
I
not
was
much
there I was there less than an hour, bro. And that moment, that's when financial reality hit me, bro. That's when, aside from me, you know, working and getting paid 1,400, I wasn't getting paid much. Like, reality still not. I know I have to generate, but I still don't feel it. I know it, but I still don't feel it. And it wasn't until I walked into this fucking bar, not even fucking 30 minutes, and I already spent more than half of my fucking check.
Damn, that shit sucks.
And reality fucking hit me. So of course, there was a cultural clash between me and my employers at that restaurant. So los mandé a la verga. You know, and my cuñado, he at that time he worked at the Central, you know, and we would like repartir elotes and shit. But that job, I mean, it was money. I was making, you know, I go from making 600-700 pesos a week to making 300-400 a day. So it was a big jump. But that job is like, you start at 10 and you don't leave until all that fucking elote is sold.
Oh shit.
So there was times that I would show up at 10, and I didn't go home till 6 in the afternoon. Go home, sleep 4 hours, wake up, go back.
Oh shit.
You know, there was times, it wasn't always like that,
But there was time.
but there was times like that. So, I can't do that, you know, I can't do this. This is all my life right here. So, I left that place and I tried to look for a job for a while. And I actually called a call center called Telvista first. And then I called a restaurant. So I got the interview in both places. But at that time I was like, I think I remember I had 5 pesos and I had 2 metro tickets. So my idea was like, you know what? My interview at Telvista is at 4 and I have an interview over here at 12. And fuck it, I'll go to this interview and I go pendejo, I'll look around and then I'll go to my interview in Telvista. And at this time I think we're already in 2011. 2011. So I go to this restaurant, bro, and I get the job. They're paying me 500 a week, pero was the tips. So I only have 7 pesos left, and I'm walking out with the waitress and the hostess. And they're going in a different direction, bro. where it's gonna cost me more. Like I didn't have enough money to get on the pesero, bro. The pesero was 90 pesos at that time, and I had 7. I had enough money to get into the metro, and I was like, fuck it, from the metro I'll walk home, you know. And I remember, bro, that they were like midway. I was walking them, and I was thinking like I need to come up with an excuse to not go with them, you know. I'm fucking thinking harder, and excuse next thing I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, repartimos las propinas. So I got 80 pesos, bro, and to me those 80 pesos saved my fucking life. To me those 80 pesos saved my life. So I'm making 500. I'm getting good tips because I know English and it's Coyoacán, so you know there's a lot of tourism. There's a lot of Americans that go there, so they're like, oh cool, you know. So they would give me $1, you know. So I'm making good tips, but the business starts going down, and I actually worked there for a while, for a few months. So I'm thinking of leaving that place because I'm no longer making, you know, the money that I thought I was making, and the hours got longer. So there was one client that used to go there a lot, and she owns another business. She owns una torteria, you know. So as I was thinking, I need to leave here so I can make more money. I'm only making 500 here. The lady calls me. That was my client. She used to go to the bar, and I was her mesero all the time. So she calls me. She's like, you know what? Your service is good. Like, I don't know how to say it, girl, because I know you work there, but I don't want you working no more.
She's trying to recruit you?
Yeah, so she recruited me, bro. She's like, how much you make there? I was like, well, I make 500 plus tips. She's like, I'll offer you 800. Shit, I'm gone, fool. I'm out. I'm gonna make more here. Fucking plus tips.
Yeah, no.
Plus tips. I mean, my financial escalation has been very slow. Was very slow. So I work, and within a week, I got promoted to manager, to general manager. So then they bumped up my pay.
Damn, that's expensive.
Well, I mean, they saw the benefit of, you know, I spoke English. And this one is in Metro Cuauhtemoc. Metro Cuauhtemoc's by Insurgentes, by la zona rosa, güey. So like you still get, you know, like some tourists that be coming by and walking by. So I mean, since I had better communication, I already had the experience from working at that restaurant. So my experience was actually more valuable than the workers that they actually had, or the guy that they had as a general manager. I had more knowledge. So they took him off a general manager, and they put me as a general manager.
Well, I bet you he hated Joe.
Yeah, he quit after that. he stood there for like maybe 2-3 days, and he quit.
Fucking Poncho.
Yeah. So I'm working at this place, and I'm realizing that I'm really not getting anywhere, bro. Like it's better, but it's not better. I mean, my hours are shorter because since I'm a general manager, I have to be the one to go out and buy the food. So twice a week, I would have to get up at 4 a.m. so I can catch the metro at 5 a.m. so I can be at Mercado Jamaica, where they sell all the fucking shit wholesale. I had to be there at 6, so I had to wait for this food to get there at 6:30 so we could start buying all the shit. So it was like my schedule. I got paid more, but my time was shorter. So after like 4 or 5 months, I realized that I wasn't getting to my goal faster. I was like, you know what? Like, I don't have a high school diploma. Like, I'm not gonna be able to, because since I was in the States, my family got me fake paperwork in the States to register me in the States. So I don't have any high school degree. I don't have any fucking degree. I understand that if I want something better by now, I need to get education, and I'm getting into 2012 by now. So I decide that I noticed that in DF, they have an unemployment program. If you're unemployed and you go to school, they're willing to help you.
Yeah.
So they were gonna give me 1,800, bro. And I was like, I started making math. I was like, you know what? No, my bad, I'm sorry. They were gonna give me those 1,800. So I started doing the math, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it, that's cool. That's cool. That's enough for me to eat, you know, like help out my sister, and I'll be able to pay for my transportation for the bus, you know, to go out and come back. When I went to the interview for the unemployment, the guy looked at my application. He's like, "What the fuck? You lived in the States 20 years. You know English?" "Of course I do." Right? He laughed at me. He's like, "Why are you looking for unemployment money?" I can't get a job. And I remember I took a short sleeve shirt. I'm like, I have a lot of tattoos. People look at me wrong, bro. Like, I can't get a job. I've gone to places. If you tell me where I can go, I'll go.
Tell me.
He told me.
And boom.
He told me to go to Tel Vista, the job that I was originally going to go to. So he told me, go to Tel Vista, talk to a guy named Benji. If you don't get the job, come back and I'll approve you right now for your unemployment. Fuck, here I go. I'm like, I had experiences with government offices and they always give you a runaround, so my mind is
here I go again.
Here I go again. With this fucking runaround. God damn it.
Fucking with me.
Yeah. So here I go to the centro, I go to this place, Tel Vista, and I meet this guy named Benji, and it turns out that Benji's uncle grew up in the same city that I was from. So his words were like, you're hired. You're hired.
Nice.
I didn't know what I was gonna make, bro, to be honest with you. And it wasn't until I got my first paycheck, which was, I actually got a bump from making that little bit of money to, I think my first paycheck, which they were only giving me a portion of it, 3,800, güey. And they were only giving me a portion because I was in training. So I got 3,800 every 2 weeks because they pay you every 2 weeks, not every quincena.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks.
But still, it was something.
It was a lot better. But I didn't meet my objective. I mean, I met other people that spoke English. So we went out partying, and it was basically the same thing that you know, when I was talking about it. I mean, I got lost, I went out.
Basically the same thing that happened when I met you motherfuckers. Hey, look at where we at.
Hey, man. Hey, we're not there yet. That's another episode.
That's another one.
But it was basically the same shit, bro. I mean, I met these guys that they spoke English too. You know, some of them were, I mean, I didn't meet anybody that was like from my city or from necessarily my area. But I was like, cool, you know, like, oh man, I don't have to struggle with Spanish anymore. I can speak with somebody, you know? So, you know, we'll go out, party, drink, and, you know, sadly, my objective with my kids just it fucking disappeared, and I got lost in all that. And time does go by.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Time does go by.
You
Really,
can't
really,
get it
really
back.
fucking quick. So, it's weird because as you meet these people from you know, where you're back home, you kind of like start to, in my mind, I started sin querer queriendo clicking back to, you know, my old ways, my old habits, my old, you know, so I've been in trouble here in Mexico a few times with the law. I have been locked up here in Mexico.
And how would you say, does it differ, or how is the contrast with at home?
Structure-wise, it is incredibly different. But I grew up in the system since I was a teen, and there's certain things that you pick up growing up in the system. There's certain psychological things that you pick up, like how to intimidate somebody psychologically. You don't necessarily have to go to war. If you can establish that intimidation, you're good. You're gonna rule. And then that's something you learn, you know, in the juvenile hall system. As you grow up, you go to the adult prisons, you realize that gets you into a lot of trouble. That gets you into a lot of trouble. You realize there's certain rules and certain sets, but you understand human behavior. So the structure is different. However, the human behavior is exactly the same. I was able to establish a respect for myself that most people don't get. Most people, they get pushed over, bro. They get intimidated, and I wasn't intimidated. So it helped me. My experience actually helped me in the situation here in Mexico, and I actually got a lot of respect when I was locked up here.
Were you locked up for long periods of time?
Nah.
It was short.
It was very short. My girlfriend at that time, she was able to gather bail money out and get me out. And I actually learned a lot about the court system, and I learned about the system here in Mexico. A lot.
You gotta pay to play?
I got a great deal of knowledge. I got a great deal of knowledge. Like, you know, a lot of people don't think, you know, you get your money back. If you get bailed out, you get your money back. Every fucking bit of money. But a lot of people, they don't want to go through that hassle, so they'll pay whatever it is to your bail, they'll never get it back. They'll never get it back. So I learned a lot. And I learned that the system here is actually a lot like in the States. The public defenders here, their main goal, and what they're mainly after, is to get you to plead guilty. That's their main goal. That's their main objective. You can tell them your story, and as you're telling them your story, they're looking at you and they're not paying attention, bro. Like, all right, yeah, so look, take the deal. Take the deal. I learned a lot. I did learn a lot. So then, shortly after that, you know, actually early 2016. From that. Well, before that, I mean, I worked in Televisa for a few months. And then after that, I also transitioned to Teletech. And I was in Teletech from 2013 to about 2015. So as you guys were going in, I was out.
Yeah.
I was out. So yeah, then I met you guys in 2016. And that's been kind of like my transition.
And then from there, we've been on a journey.
And then from there, it's been better. I somewhere down the line, I came down to the conclusion that I'm not gonna make it back to the States. You know, I'm really not. At this point, I've never really met anybody. Now I know about somebody that's been able to, you know, got deported and has been able to get back legally, successfully, you know. So that's a big hope, because there's it's possible.
Or you could do it like the dude in the meme, I guess the visa
What? What?